So we're looking at what the impact of the Great Depression was on Germany. And to summarise it, the Great Depression had a huge impact on Germany. The Wall Street crash in the USA of 1929 led to a global depression. The depression had a huge impact on Germans because Germany depended on loans from the USA and because it still owed reparations to the Allies. American loans were recalled and German businesses could not pay, and therefore many went out of business and went bankrupt. Millions of German workers lost their jobs, and by the late 1932, there were 6 million unemployed people in Germany. And this mood of optimism in Germany disappeared. And by optimism, we say this feeling of positivity, this idea that things were going to get better. As the Weimar government struggled, extremist parties in Germany, including the Nazis, gained support from the people. The Weimar government failed to end the crisis. The shortcomings of the Weimar system became more and more obvious to the people. No party was strong enough to take decisive action within the proportional representation of the government. Extremist parties exploited this situation. Many workers from the factories turned to the Communist Party with its promises to the workers of a workers' revolution. Others, mainly the rich, the middle classes, were attracted by right-wing parties and their promises of strong rule and to restore Germany's status as a great power. The Nazis were also fiercely anti-communist, which made them even more popular with the bosses of factories who feared a communist revolution and feared an overrule of their own status. The main point to take away is that the Great Depression severely damaged the German economy and undermined Weimar democracy. This ultimately gave the Nazis an opportunity to win support for their extreme policies, which they exploited very effectively. I'd like you to answer the question, how did the Great Depression facilitate the rise of the Nazi Party? Now, when we say facilitate, we mean help. Now, there's some things you'll need to think about when answering this question. You'll need to think about not only what the impact of the Great Depression was, as in people lost their jobs, people lost their money, but think about why that made them turn to the Nazi Party. I'd also expect you to be thinking about how the Treaty of Versailles and the consequent reparations and how Germany paid those reparations was impacted by the Great Depression. I'd expect this to be about maybe 4 or 5 lines long. I'm not expecting a whole essay of this, just more of a summary of your understanding of the Great Depression's role in the rise of the Nazi Party. I'd like you to start to think about the following question. Why do you think that people in 1929 turned towards more fascist groups compared to in 1920? Now, obviously, you've already partially answered this question when writing about the impact of the Great Depression and how that helped the rise of the Nazis. But this question would actually require you to think about issues like the Treaty of Versailles, think about the invasion of the Ruhr, think about hyperinflation, and think about the Great Depression. Remember that hyperinflation and the Great Depression are 2 separate events. So this question is really asking you to pull together your previous pieces of writing and your previous lessons. Now, I do not expect you to write an answer to this question. This is a question that I'd like you to be thinking about and thinking how you might structure your answer to.